Welcome to the NFC West Roundtable, a weekly live show featuring top-tier insight and analysis on all things NFC West from the best creators in the division, including Los Angeles Rams creator Jake, San Francisco 49ers creator Jesse, Seattle Seahawks creator Brandon, and Arizona Cardinals creator Mike. Catch the NFC West Roundtable every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on the NFC West Roundtable YouTube channel. Is up, NFC West football fans, and welcome into another edition of the NFC West Roundtable. The offseason is in full swing. The NFL Combine kicking off this week. Free agency in around 2 weeks. Plenty to talk about tonight here on the NFC West Roundtable. So let's not waste any time. Let's bring in the fellas, Brando, Mike, Jesse, and Jake. Last week, there was one team remaining in the NFL without an offensive coordinator, and that was Jake's LA Rams. And the hot name was the name I had never heard of until Jake uttered it. It was Nate Scheelhaase. And now all of a sudden, the man I never heard of is the man in charge of the LA Rams offense. It took some time, Jake. It felt inevitable, but the inevitable wound up coming to fruition. Nate Scheelhaase named offensive coordinator of your LA Rams. We'll start there tonight. I know he's your guy, but talk to us about why he's the right fit to take over for Kubiak now as offensive coordinator in LA.
Well, I think you meant LaFleur,
sorry, LaFleur. I can't get used to the amount of coaching changes in this room. You're right. Sorry, LaFleur. But as I was saying, LaFleur take the stage, Jake, replacing LaFleur in LA.
Yeah, I love it. Look, I'm a big believer in, promoting from within, and this is not something Sean McVay normally does, believe it or not. Despite the fact he builds a really strong coaching tree, this is just not something he normally does. So I love this because what we're starting to see is there's a pattern here. Sean McVay goes out, he gets Michael Hunter, the assistant defensive backs coach from Ohio State, takes a job with the Tennessee Volunteers, and then even before he can get going, he moves on to the Rams. You have this, obviously Nate Scheelhaase coming over from Iowa State. They added another guy whose name is totally escaping me at this moment, from Syracuse. It's just Robert Wright. I'm a big fan of the way Sean McVay is going into the college ranks. And, the big thing about Scheelhaase is that he believes in keeping it fresh, but he doesn't want to reinvent the wheel because obviously we love the wheel, right? It's how, it's how you move. Like it's already there. When things are, they're a classic, they're not a fad. Why change that? It works, right? So that's the thing, is that Scheelhaase is going to marry the idea of this works, we're going to keep this, while also not being afraid to add some new elements to the offense. And I understand people are hearing this and they're saying, Jake, he's not going to call plays. Like Sean McVay, we know he calls plays. Although today was interesting. We saw Sean Payton give up the play calling. We saw Dave Canales give up the play calling. Maybe somewhere down the line, McVay will finally do it, but we know it's not going to be this year. I will say this to anybody that says the offensive coordinator position is meaningless when they're not calling plays. Kevin O'Connell is a big reason why they won the Super Bowl in 2021. He was outstanding. And the things that he did as far as the game plan and the third down, calls and things like that, I mean, he had a huge stamp on that season. And Mike LaFleur had a huge stamp on this season, and history just repeats itself. LaFleur ends up, leaving the Rams, LaFleur, right? Because they lost Matt LaFleur, Sean's first year. He goes over with Mike Vrabel, and then he gets a head coaching job after that. Well, Mike LaFleur gets a head coaching job, and now you move in Nate Scheelhaase, who's 35, and guys, I'm going to be honest with you, this is going to be a head coach. He would have been a head coach this year had the Browns not made a stupid decision to hire Todd Monken. No idea what they were thinking. They literally brought in advisors. The advisors said, this is the guy, hire Scheelhaase. And the owner, Jimmy Haslam, because he's one of the worst owners in professional sports, decided, no, I'm going to go with the 6-year-old Todd Monken. So that's why he's not a head coach. I shouldn't sound like I'm complaining. I love that he's going to stay with the Rams. And there were some other, instances with this. They added former Eagles offensive coordinator Brian Johnson. Really like that one from 2023. He's also the pass game coordinator, assistant head coach last year and the year prior with Washington. So kind of an under the radar thing there that, I don't know if everybody knew about. And then Robert Woods joins the coaching staff. Yes, he retires. A true Ram in his own right, was signed, Sean McVay's rookie year. And we love Robert Woods, with the Rams, the whole Rams fan base. So to see him now as an assistant wide receivers coach is going to be fun.
Very cool for Robert Woods, by the way. As you just mentioned, his retirement didn't last very long. Signs a one-day contract with LA, retires as a Ram, immediately joins that offensive coaching staff. So a new regime, but not all that new, I guess, in LA, with Shieldhouse promoted. All the guys you just mentioned, including Robert Woods, joining that staff as well. So it'll be interesting to see what changes in LA, but with an offense as good as theirs, you got to hope not much changes, and we'll see what ends up going down in 2026. We'll keep an eye on what's going to be going down with Trent Williams, as we saw John Lynch get ready to address the media out in Indianapolis today. Adam Schefter said, I got something for you here, Johnny Lynch. I'm going to tweet out about the potential for Trent Williams to no longer be a San Francisco 49er with the cap hit that he is expected to take for San Francisco this year. Adam Schefter tweets out that if they're not able to reach a long-term agreement here, there could be potential for Trent Williams to move on from San Francisco. Now, John Lynch did address this immediately, and he said he feels that the talks with him and Trent Williams are positive, but that's GM talk. So I'll have you talk here, Jesse. What do you make of this situation with Trent Williams, and what do you think ends up going down here between him and the organization?
Yeah, I mean, this actually shouldn't be that surprising. Trent Williams has always been all about his money. As much as he loves being a 49er, he also wants to be paid. I know 2 years ago when he had no more guaranteed money, he was advised to not show up to training camp until that was rectified. And once it was, he was back at training camp. Here it is again. He has no guaranteed money, entering essentially the final year of his deal. He's 38 years old. He wants to continue to play. And the 49ers, right now, he has a huge cap hit. So I've got to imagine that the 49ers have probably approached him about maybe taking a pay cut. And he's like, all right, well, you can move some of that money by extending me. And the 49ers are like, you're 38. We don't want to extend you. We don't want to kick the can down the road, because if you retire, it's going to screw us. And so I believe they're at an impasse. I don't know that it will get solved, but I do like that the 49ers are taking this approach. I was very concerned entering this offseason that the 49ers can free up a ton of money by either restructuring or extending Trent Williams and or restructuring Nick Bosa. And I don't think they should do either by any means. I think Bosa coming off of a third torn ACL, a second one in that same knee, 29 years old. I certainly wouldn't kick the can down the road on his contract, even though he's basically got a quarterback cap hit this year. It's astronomical. And then Trent Williams, same thing with him, 38 years old. It doesn't make sense to kick the can down the road with him. And I like that the 49ers, at least for now, seem to be taking a firm approach when it comes to Trent Williams. But Trent Williams also definitely has leverage. He knows the 49ers have done nothing to find his replacement. They know, or he knows that they need him. And so he's going to play some hardball as well. We'll see what ends up happening here. But Trent Williams has always been about his money. This shouldn't be that much of a surprise. And the other question is like, well, okay, well, why would the 49ers just cut him? Why not just trade him? I mean, you're going to take a $35 million dead cap hit if you cut him. You're going to take a $35 million dead cap hit if you trade him. And the answer to that is simply, you can do the post June 1st cut, save yourself $25 million this year, push some of that to next year when the cap goes up. And most teams will do this on big contracts, like is the case with Trent Williams. So that's why you wouldn't necessarily trade Trent Williams, even though you could get something for him. You would probably do a post June 1st cut. We'll see what ends up happening here. If I had to guess, I would say that they probably work something out. But I like the 49ers approach here, because they don't normally play hardball with some of their core players the way that they are with Trent Williams right now. And I think it's the right move.
Mike, Monty Ossenfort wasted no time this afternoon. Before he was even asked a question, he dove right into the quarterback talk because he knew that's what everybody was going to want to talk about. And when you look at the calendar here and you think back and listen, Kyler Murray's been the face of that organization for some time now. Yeah. We're at the point now, February 24th, where Kyler Murray's 2027 base salary becomes guaranteed after March 15th. So it's down to the last month here. I know you've pretty much come to the conclusion it's probably done in Arizona. But as we get closer to that deadline there, and as you hear Ossenfort speak and the offseason is really starting to get into swing here, have you really given the thought to Kyler Murray officially being gone? And where are you at with that as it starts to seem to become more of a reality as we're just a couple of weeks away from that probably occurring?
Well, I mean, heading into year 4 of Monty Ossenfort, he just says a whole lot of nothing. Like, it's a word salad is what we call it. It's just all right, get to the point. Like, he just likes to beat around the bush. But yes, he started off the presser. He knew that that's exactly what everybody was going to ask. What's the status of Kyler Murray? And he kind of shut all those questions down. There really wasn't a follow-up because he ended up coming out and saying that they had a really good, communication amongst Kyler and him, and even Mike LaFleur even came out and said the same thing. Like, they had open conversations and he's responded back to them, but they're keeping everything in house. Now, the weird thing is, I'm not sure if you guys caught this, but Josh Weinfist, that covers the Arizona Cardinals for ESPN, ended up having something about 2 hours after the presser of those two guys and ended up saying, I have a source that says that you haven't talked to Kyler Murray since the offseason. So I don't know. It's kind of a mix of backs of emotions, but here's the thing. Like, the Arizona Cardinals right now are in a situation where it almost feels like it's inevitable. Like, we're going to move on now, whether Monty is lying, that if he actually spoke to him or he didn't. I mean, we all know that what the end result is going to be. It's just one of those things that it's rip it off like a Band-Aid, right? Like you said, we're waiting for the 5th day of the new year because of it's like $19.5 million gets guaranteed next year. So the Cardinals need to make a real big decision here. Now, I'm hoping that they've been having this conversation since they've hired Mike LaFleur. I mean, I'm assuming that Mike LaFleur came into this probably knowing what the plan was, but how to execute it is exactly what all the eyes are going to be looking at. And Monty Ossenfort, how are you going to move off of the franchise quarterback the Cardinals have had here for 7 years, right? Now, there's still some Cardinal fans that are holding hope that Kyler's going to come back, but I don't know, man. It's a pipe dream. People don't want to go back to another 3 or 4 win season. And in their eyes, if Kyler's gone, that's what we're going to go back. And I don't necessarily think that's the case, but it's one of those situations that we're just going to have to kind of wait and see. We're getting closer to free agency. So I'm hoping this whole Kyler Murray drama is going to be done sooner rather than later, because I just want to find out who the next franchise guy is and just kind of get on that train and let's move on forward to 2026. I'm kind of over this Kyler Murray topic, to be real with you.
We'll talk about free agency in just a second here, but while out in Indianapolis for the Combine, these are when the league meetings go down, and in those league meetings, conversations about different rules happen to come up between the owners, and if you haven't heard, Brando's Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl just a couple of weeks ago, and what went a long way for those Seahawks getting the 1 seed was that epic victory over the LA Rams in, week 16? If I'm not mistaken, correct, fellas? Week 16, and if you remember back on that game, the Rams were dominating until they weren't. And one of the big changes of the tide in that game was a 2-point conversion that left a lot of people confused because it looked like the teams were getting ready to kick the ball off. There was a non-conversion. Then they took a second look, and after a tip ball that went backwards, was recovered by Charbonnet and brought into the end zone, the ref said, hold on a minute, that's a good 2-point conversion, and the rest is history. Well, the Rams, they've been sitting on that one for some time, and there was a proposal brought to the table about this 2-point conversion rule. So the Rams, they put a couple of rules up for debate in the league meetings. One is the first one here that I'll discuss in regard to that 2-point conversion play in particular and how it would be ruled differently based on their proposal. The Rams say that a backward pass would now be, if it's tipped by a defensive player and goes past the line of scrimmage, it would be treated like a fumble, and it would not be able to be recovered by anybody other than the person who fumbled it. Meaning, in that situation, Sam Darnold would have had to have been the one to have recovered the fumble and brought it into the end zone for that 2-point conversion to have counted. The other rule that they brought to the table that I personally find to be the most interesting is that they are calling for replay review to be initiated within 40 to 60 seconds. The reason why we were watching that game and saw the kicking units get ready to go on the field and then started saying, wait, what just happened? It took 100 seconds for that replay to end up getting initiated. So I thought of this while I was reading this, fellas, and I think we've had a few discussions throughout the years here about sort of similar topics. But as it's that time of year, I want each of you to give me one rule that comes to your mind that if you were heading to the league meetings this week, one rule you would bring to the table that you think the entire league would benefit from, maybe not just your team, like the Rams are trying to pull off in this instance, or in my case, apparently the Bills have tried to get a rule changed every single time they lose to the Chiefs. So I've heard that in the last half decade here. But is there anything in particular that stands out to you guys that you would like to see change? Another one, of course, a big one was the tush push. I do find it ironic, however, as soon as the Eagles stopped dominating with the tush push, nobody really seems to care about the tush push anymore. Brando, I'll start with you. You were the benefactor of what was the rule this time around, not what the Rams proposed in terms of that 2-point conversion. Is there a rule that stands out to you that you would like to see changed in order to make the NFL a better product?
I liked having the opportunity to be able to review penalties once a game. Have an opportunity to go back in. You give the one opportunity so that the people can't spam it, but you as a coach get to have that once in your pocket. It would establish an element of strategy for coaches, and it also would give you an opportunity to make sure that you're able to get a call correctly that normally could never be utterly reviewed. I'm not going to try to dwell on a little bit of what you just talked about prior, but just I do think it's kind of hilarious here because we want this league to get these things right as far as these calls go. We want them to get them correct. That's the whole point. Fans bitch and moan all the time about the fact that the NFL doesn't get the call right. And now it's like, well, they're not doing it fast enough. It's like, well, what do you want? Do you want to get the call right, or is it about the speed? So I'm not going to go on a tangent there, but just I find that kind of hilarious.
I think that's a fair point you make. I think the problem with that situation was that it feels like speed is emphasized already. And the fact that it wasn't in that situation made it seem like there was something, I don't want to say nefarious, but I guess different about the whole thing that made it seem more questionable. I'm not entirely sure, but I get what you're saying. The whole key here is to want to get it right. I like that rule you're proposing, though. That would give coaches the ability to guarantee it gets right at least once. Now, I'm guessing if they get it right, Brando, you get a chance to do it again following that. That's it. Just one.
Just one time.
Everybody gets one. Everybody gets one. Jake, what are your thoughts on a rule that I know we've been down this lane before, you and I? One rule that you think you would tweak a little bit in order to make the NFL better moving forward?
Oh, man. One? Oh, man. Well, I'll piggyback off Brando and throw my own, but I think everything should be reviewed. I think the referees are complete garbage. I do. And I do think because of that, I don't think this is normal circumstances. I think you have to allow anything goes where anything can be reviewed. Any penalty, anything. You have those challenges. Why can't you use them on anything? Why am I told that, you can review almost anything except for all the penalties and penalties that aren't called that are blatant? I don't agree with that. I also think there should be 3 challenges. And I don't think that there should be like a reward for getting them right. I think you should just have 3 challenges. That's what I would do on that side. But come on, Z-Bot, you know me. Get the hell out of here with the tush push. It is not. It's not an NFL play. It's ridiculous. I'm not saying it because of one team or the other. I just don't want it in the game. I'm tired of it. I think it's really just bad football. I think there are teams that do it in a way where it's not their entire identity, literally every team that's not the Eagles. So I think they deserve credit for that. I think the Seahawks deserve credit the way they used it with A.J. Barner. I think the Bills deserve credit the way they used it with Josh Allen. But you have one team that has made it their entire identity in the red zone, and they were still not a good offensive team at all. I'm tired of it. Get rid of it. And, I've heard, it doesn't cause injuries. There's no safety concern. They've already done research. What do you mean? The low man wins, so you have a bunch of defensive linemen getting their necks bent back just because, they're trying to make the play. I hate it. Get rid of it. And I think that needs to be fixed. And on top of that, the early whistle, there needs to be something with that as well, because we saw the fumble in that game that we were at on the kickoff, Rams 49ers, and they were just like, I saw it after the fact. I watched the broadcast after the fact, and Terry McCauley's like, well, it has to be immediate, where he fumbles the football as soon as he's contacted. We don't even know what it has to be. They're making it up as they go. So I don't know. Those are some things that I would throw out there.
If I was a Panthers fan, I think I'd be in agreement with you. Just get rid of the tush push. But as a Bills fan, man, they are relying on it on more than just about anything other than the screen pass. So I've pretty much become a fan of the tush push, and of course, it works every time until it had to work against Kansas City in the AFC Championship.
I'm the same way, Z-Bot. I was with Jake last year. Yeah. I was like, I would have been one of the people with the pitchforks going, this thing is an abomination for the game, and now I'm like, this is the best play in NFL history.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, right? Because your Seahawks figure it out without using the quarterback. The Ravens do the same thing. Plenty of teams do. The Steelers do. There's that great shot of Aaron Rodgers just standing in the background with his hands in the pocket, waiting for the tush push to commence. It's almost like it's become part of the ether of the game in some weird way. I just do find it interesting that as soon as the Eagles stop being dominant. Yeah,
that's what I was trying to avoid. I don't want it to be in the. It's a terrible play. But let's just say you keep it in the game, right? Mm-hmm. I see in the comments section, Turbo Fargo. Tush push would be fine if the fumble or not fumble due to forward progress. That is what is infuriating. Or the refs saying they can't see offsides. Absolutely agree. I just think the refs are incompetent. They can't officiate it correctly. Get rid of the play entirely.
Seeing a bunch of chats coming in with ideas, by the way. One that I do find to be interesting, Chris coming in saying excessive celebration needs to be allowed. We've come a long way, by the way. It's not that long ago. You couldn't do anything, but I would love that. And I know Brando probably would appreciate a little extra.
Give him the 3 pumps, man. Give him the 3 pumps.
No doubt about it. Mike, I'll go to you here.
Let's go.
In addition to field goal dunking, is there anything else you'd like to tweak in order to make the league better in terms of the rules that are currently in place?
So tweak, okay.
Or change completely.
Okay.
What is your oyster?
Well, I just still don't understand what the hell catch is. Like, I still don't know what now I know this can't be one of those things that's ever going to happen, probably not till like later, but I don't know. Like, I really wish there was some sort of accountability for the referees. And I know all of us want this, right? And is it ever going to happen? Probably not. But I would love the NFL to actually fix the game we love, because we've seen too many times where a game gets turned upside down because of a decision that was absolutely blatant stupid, like just stupid, absolutely dumb. So I would love the refs to get some sort of accountability and maybe make it public for us to be like, okay, cool. Okay, well, game's over, fine. But like, can you learn from that? Because I just feel like every game, it's so situational with the refs that are being in play. Like, everybody's got their own crew. They all kind of run the Wild Wild West. It's absolutely weird that they say they know what a catch is, but nobody knows what a damn catch is. So I hope that gets figured out to a T, which I know it's not going to, but I would love to see some accountability from these damn referees. And then just to kind of throw on the tracker for the freaking football, like this spot tracker where we made such a big deal. Oh, this is going to be the technology at its finest. We've seen it like once, twice at play. And even when it's just this stupid dinky donkey little freaking Excel sheet or whatever they put on the screen. Like, it just doesn't look clean enough. And that's probably why they don't use it, but like, use it. If you have the technology, use it. Yeah, use it to the best of the ability. I don't know. I feel like sometimes I see referees do some crazy stuff in games where like put the football here and they're like, no, here. Where do I put it? Like, where am I going? There's just a lot of cluelessness going on with the referees. So overall, accountability, use the technology if you have it. And that's all I got.
The NFL said the chain gang looks antiquated, so let's use a graphic that looks like it was made in PowerPoint to show you whether or not it was a first down. Nothing has changed in that regard. They just swapped it out for a graphic. So I think that's a good one, Mike. Jesse, how about you? Anything you would change in regard to the rules?
Yeah, you got to love the graphic. It looks like it's straight out of Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pixelated.
listen, and not only that, it's still the ref places it and it just measures it. It's like, well, I thought the whole point was that it was
Such
going to
BS.
tell you where the ball was at when the play was blown dead. I guess that technology doesn't exist. But the changes I would make, we keep talking about how bad officiating is. I think the reason that officiating is so bad is because these guys, it's crazy in 2026, guys, that we have a multi-billion-dollar league and they don't have full-time officials. These guys work jobs in the offseason. They're not full-time. That blows my mind. They've got to have full-time officials year-round, being trained, working on things. That this is not that hard to figure out. I think that's number one. And number two, the Super Bowl has to fall on President's Day weekend. And the best way to do that is to add a second bye week, give teams that extra rest. Thursday night games can only come off of teams playing byes. That extra bye week pushes the season back 1 week. You get healthier teams, healthier players, better product on Thursday, and the Super Bowl falls on President's Day weekend. This is a simple fix, guys. Come on, make it happen.
I like that.
Man, we got
It feels like you getting up ahead of the substation, Jesse. That's what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
That it
for
does.
president.
But everything, what I've noticed in all these suggestions is none of them are outlandish. If anything, they feel like they're things that seem beyond reasonable, and you're sitting here wondering why they aren't a thing in the first place. The full-time ref thing to me is beyond, like, if out of all of these things, it just makes absolutely no sense. It is the
They're
most
too close to
lucrative
the actions he bought. That's what it is.
in terms of them being bought off, you mean?
No. I mean, like, I have this theory, and you could apply it in almost anything. Like, for instance, anybody see Game of Thrones, the ending? Everybody hates the ending. I think people were too, like, the people that worked on that, they thought it was great. They were too close to the action. So they didn't really see it the way everyone else did, because clearly nobody really liked the ending. It's kind of like that. I mean, I think you see it, player evaluation. I think coaches really like a certain player, the way he practices, but when the regular season comes, those 17 games, he's not really the player, and everyone can see it, whether it's on tape or just watching the games. But the coach, I feel it's the same way when it comes to officiating and the NFL. I think they're so close to the action that they just have blind spots that you and I can see clear as day, and pretty much anyone else. And I just think they miss it. And I think it happens a lot. I think it happens in every industry. But with the NFL, I mean, to your point, how could you say any of this stuff would be outlandish and would... I'm not asking for 4-point field goals, okay? I'm not asking for anything crazy. I'm not asking for it to be the Arena League. I'm asking for it to be a better league. Something where if everyone who loves the NFL watches the NFL voted on, to me, it would be almost unanimous on most of these. I just don't know why, when we're all sitting here like, this would obviously make the game better. And call us crazy, there's 17 games in a season. God forbid we know the margin for error is so slim, and we just want a really tight product, right? We don't want it to be loose. We don't want to see different things that are just, we don't want to be talking about plays that didn't go well and controversy. But then at the same time, I think about it, and I feel like the NFL kind of thrives off that a little bit, being that team that's like, being that organization that's like, yeah, that Thursday night game was great, or that Sunday night game was great, or that Saturday game was great, but there was that one play, and then people keep talking about it, and it's almost kind of like the magic of the NFL. You're talking about the NFL 12 months out of 12 months. Find me another sport where you're doing that. So I think that's part of it too.
Mike Florio refers to it as the new shiny object, where the NFL continuously benefits over having something immediately following controversy to talk about again. So if something controversial happens on Monday, it's irrelevant by Thursday because there's another new shiny object to talk about. Or if it happens on Sunday, there's a million other shiny objects to talk about. But you were talking about the refs being too close to the game. This is where I'll add, this is what the Sky Judge was supposed to take care of. Getting rid of those blind spots, and you never know when it can and can't be utilized. Yeah. If there's anything I hope to have change, it would be the implementation of the Sky Judge in all aspects, where it's blatantly obvious that something wasn't called right, but for whatever reason, the sky judge can interfere in one category, but not in the other. There's a lot of that in the league. I think that would go a long way towards making it better. And to Jesse's point, it will fall on President's Day next year, the Super Bowl, that is. It will be on Valentine's Day, so tell your significant others in advance that you're going to have to celebrate on Saturday. But Jesse, I feel like there might be some breakups. That's for sure. And the thing of it is that it's not occurring because of an additional bye. It's just the way the schedule is falling this upcoming year. But one way I think Jesse will end up getting to what you're asking for, it's not that additional bye, but it's going to be that additional game, adding that 18th
but
game.
when they do that, they need a second bye week, and then that would push it back, unless, you know what I mean? Like that's, so to me, no matter what, the second bye week has to be implemented. It just does. We can talk about player safety all we want. We know that that's BS from the league. It's just fodder so that they can look good. But the product on Thursday would be so much better if two teams were coming off of a bye. So much better.
Totally agree. I think that's something that has to happen with the 18th game. And I think the NFLPA is going to enforce that too if they end up signing off on doing the 18th game. Well, as it stands right now, there's 17 games, and there's plenty of players looking for new teams or potentially to stay with their current team in free agency to play in those 17 upcoming games. We all talk about who should our teams add, but we're going to talk about who we don't want to see our opponents add within this division in free agency. We'll get to that in just a second. Before we do, want to give a shout out to my friends over at RotoWire. We've been talking about them all year long, and just because the season is over doesn't mean the utilization of RotoWire has to end, because if anything, this is the time you're going to want to get in on a premium subscription the most. It's got you covered down to the second on all of the latest news. And we know news is going to be coming at us like crazy in the combine, free agency, as we get into the draft. You're not going to want to miss any of that. And the best way to keep track of all of it is over on RotoWire. Not only do you get all your news, but you have great tools for betting, for fantasy. It's all on RotoWire. Get a premium subscription today. Link in the description below. Click it, sign up. And once you do sign up for that premium subscription, use the promo code RTS and you will get 15% off. Also want to give a shout out to our friends over at Sleeper. Sleeper Picks was awesome using that feature all throughout the season. You can make the offseason go even faster by using Sleeper Picks with the NBA, the NHL, you name it. It's all on Sleeper. Link in the description below. Click that and sign up for Sleeper. And once you do, you will immediately get a free $20 entry to use on the NBA, the NHL, you name it. Once you use that free $20 entry, use the promo code on your screen, RTS, and that will get you a 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper terms of use for details. Currently available in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper via the link in the description below. And while you're checking them out, make sure to check out their new Teams Picks feature, where you can pick, for instance, the Trailblazers to get it done over the Utah Jazz. They have an awesome new Teams Picks feature that you can check out as well. While you're down in that link in the description below, you also are going to want to check out that giveaway we've been telling you about for the last couple of weeks. It's still up and it's still rolling, but only until March 31st. So a little over a month left on the giveaway of the Jackson Smith and Jigba framed and signed jersey. Awesome piece that you can win over on the Covered app. So that link is in the description below. You click that, and if you use the promo code Ball Don't Lie, you will get a free entry to try and snag that awesome frame up with the vintage jersey there. Absolutely love it, and I'll be jealous of whoever ends up winning that thing. The contest goes till March 31st, so make sure to get in on it. All right, fellas, with that said, free agency. It's about 2 weeks away, and that's when things start to get interesting during the offseason. And as I mentioned earlier, constantly wondering who our teams are going to add, but who are the guys that you desperately hope the other teams in this division don't add? That's what we're going to be talking about in this segment. Jake, I'm going to start with you here. When you're looking at the landscape of the West here, it's the best division in football. We know that. It could get even better, even tougher with proper additions, and with the upcoming free agency period kicking off in just about 2 weeks, who is a guy or two that you don't want to see go to any of these three teams outside of the Rams in the NFC West?
It's tough, but I'm going to start off with the Cardinals here. I mean, obviously nothing against the Cardinals. I don't want them to add Jamel Dean because I want Jamel Dean. So that I don't want to see that. With Seattle, I think it's Max Crosby. That defense is already disgusting. I think adding Max Crosby would really take that to a level that we just haven't really seen. And then I think the 49ers, I'm not really too worried about them adding a pass rush or anything like that. I'm worried about them, like, what if they go out and get A.J. Brown? What if they go out and they sign Mike Evans? Like a big play, big-bodied, big target wide receiver for Brock Purdy, because I think, that would be a perfect fit when you talk about, I think Brock is accurate. I don't think he's pinpoint accurate. I think he's like generally accurate. And I think having a guy with that type of, catch radius could really maybe add him another touchdown, that they didn't have last year. I think you increase that points per game by quite a bit if you add somebody like that. So that's pretty much what I don't want to see.
And the one thing to keep in mind, too, is that nothing's a pipe dream in this division. With the amount of money to spend for all these teams, especially Brandon Seahawks, which I still cannot get over the ability to go and dominate in a Super Bowl and have $60+ million to spend before the additions. Unbelievable. Mike, we know the Cardinals, they're the ones that got to make the best additions. And we also want to see the rest of this division not make any proper additions, right? We got to get back into the thick of things here with Arizona. So I'll go to you here. Who do you not want to see get added in the landscape of the NFC West when it comes to the free agency period?
Yeah, well, let me start with the 49ers first. With the whole Trent Williams situation, it's not that I feel like Rasheed Walker is going to be like this next, Trent Williams, but like just the kind of plug and play player. And I don't think he's like that dynamo, but he's the best like left tackle that might probably going to be available. So I would not like to see them get their, offensive line fixed. And then on top of that, is it Kayvon Chase on? I don't want them to get any more pass rushers on over there. So for the 49ers, that's kind of what I got from them. For the Seahawks, I don't want them to re-sign Rashid Shaheed. Like, for the love of God, let him go somewhere else, man. He just completely changed that special teams over there. So I would not like to see him return. And then just to kind of make it a little different, Max Crosby was up there as well for the Seahawks as well. But I'm going to mix it up a little bit, but keeping a guy that's, still at his age, still doing it, Trey Hendrickson. I would hate to see that as well for the Seattle Seahawks for the same reasons that Jake ended up saying. Just that defense is just ridiculous, man. And just to add anybody of the caliber of like Trey Hendrickson or even like Max Crosby would just be stupid. And then the Rams, the Mike Evans. I keep hearing Jake talk about it. And I'm like, dude, what more do you need, Stafford? No, I would not love to see Mike Evans over there. So Mike Evans, and then I don't know why I threw Jalen Phillips in there just for the heck of it. I don't know. There's probably no links on over there, but I really do like him as a player. And I think their defense is pretty solid. I mean, obviously not to par of what the Seahawks are, but adding another playmaker like him, I obviously wouldn't want to see that. So that's what I got.
I'll add one more your way here, Mike. In terms of Kyler Murray, is there one team you would just hate to see him go to?
I mean, the only one I would hate would be like within the NFC West, just because you see him twice. And it's not because I'm like, I want success for him. I really do. Like, I think he's going to get the most success with the Vikings. But to me, it's whoever the hell is going to give us the best package. Like, I don't really care where he goes, to be real with you. I'm one of those guys that's like, I'll follow, like, I'll see what happens, like, wherever you go, and kudos to you, but like you're cut ties, man. I'm just cold-blooded like that, man. I can care less.
Mike, let me show. Mike thinks he'll suck anywhere he goes. That's what he's meaning by that.
He's going to the Jets.
Jets, Jets. He's gonna go to the Jets. Come on, guys. Be real.
It's so obvious, man. You can see it. That's something that they are going to peddle like it's this game changer. And
they did it with Justin Fields. I mean, my God, how could they not do it with Kyler Murray?
Do you remember how excited those fans were? Oh my God, Justin Fields, we're so bad. Oh my God.
And then week one, they dropped 32.
Oh yeah. Well,
they were ready.
I used the analogy yesterday. I'm not a fan of just taking what I'm given. Like I want what I want. Like if I'm in free agency and I'm spending top money, I'm not just taking the best available. Like I want the guy that I want. I'm not going to just take seconds. And I feel like the Jets are going to be like taking the seconds of the Cardinals, and they'll be like, we'll take Kyler Murray off your hands and he'll be our franchise quarterback. That's their organization in a nutshell. And I'm telling you, they're probably going to do it. And you're probably going to get a decent haul in return because they're not a good organization.
Well, I think the Aaron Glenn factor as well, man. He's fighting for his job. He wants to do something big. Dante Moore decided to declare back, and he's kind of stuck in a situation where he's going to have to find an answer, and that answer is Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Brando, John Schneider's got enough money to spend this offseason that maybe none of these guys end up going to any other team in this division. But after they're done spending their bag, who are some guys you don't want to see get within this division outside your Seahawks in free agency?
Well, there'll be a little bit of doubling up for me with Mike in regards to this, a little bit because this is not necessarily a super strong free agent class. Let's be clear with that part of it. I think first off, when it comes to the Rams, I do think that Mike Evans is a guy that would be very scary. Part of this has to do with the Rams not having as many pathways to address necessarily what they want to address. I know that Jake's hot to trot on Jamil Dean, but I don't know that they're going to really necessarily have the money to spend on that to that degree of things. So they got to go a little bit lower cost. And I can see how an impact of an Evans, that 3 stack of wide receivers, would be hard to stop. And I do think the Rams at times last year got held back by the wide receiver position down the line by not having a better outlet outside of Adams and outside of Puka Nacua. So even if it wasn't Evans, even them going after Rashid Shaheed, I think you could make the argument that if they had made the run at him at the deadline instead of us, if they'd given up more than us at the deadline to get him, they may have been the team in the Super Bowl hoisting that Lombardi trophy. And maybe there's a little bit of going back and trying to reverse that now, going with the contract there. They may have just enough money there. I think with the Niners, it'd be Trey Hendrickson. Because I think that would also signal that they're actually in true go-forward mode rather than what I'm kind of hoping they're going to do at this point, which is that, well, I mean, Trent's already heading out the door. And I mean, Christian's getting old. Let's just own this year. Let's just put it in the tank. Let's put it in the bag. Hendrickson would indicate that, no, we're still going to try to be aggressive with this. And I could kind of see the dream is they might finally reward Jesse with actually doing some quantifiable blitzing this year. God forbid the Niners do that with the new defensive coordinator they got in there. And if you've got 2-point guys like Bosa and Hendrickson on that line, they can serve to draw their double teams and make those blitzes that much more effective. So I think that he would be a problem there as well as fitting that defense as being more of a hand in the dirt type guy, more than he is really a stand-up type dude coming off the edge as kind of an outside linebackerish dude. And then with the Cardinals, I think it would be Kenneth Walker. I'm not meaning to pick a Seahawk here, but we've got some guys that are going to get paid on the open market that are going to be valuable. And I think that the Cardinals are going to be into a potential predicament here because they're going to probably move on from Connor. Benson's coming off of a torn ACL. This draft is not great for running backs. And they could find themselves in a little bit of a position that they've been at times in recent past history with like the cornerback room where they're coming back next year and they don't have a lot of dynamic talent there. This is a guy who I think is still just coming into his own at 25 years old. I think he'd be money well spent. And I think if you get in the blockers up front and the right scheme that they're going to adopt here with LaFleur, I think he'd be pretty good.
Jesse, I know you'd hate to see Trent Williams go anywhere within this division, but in addition to him, anybody else you'd hate to see go to the 3 other teams not named San Francisco in free agency?
Yeah, I actually had pinned a free agent to every single team individually, but I'm just going to give you 3 names that I think could go to all 3 teams and wreak havoc, and I'll make a case for all 3 as I go through. Number 1 would be Isaiah Likely. I've been an Isaiah Likely for a long time now. I wanted the 49ers to trade Debo for him a few years ago when they were going to extend Debo. I said, trade Debo, go get Likely and a draft pick. I think Likely's an up-and-coming player, and I think obviously we know that would have been a win of a trade if they had made that trade back then. But I think Isaiah Likely on the Rams, we know that they run their 3 tight end sets. They've got a couple free agent tight ends. That would be terrifying. You add him to the mix. We're talking about Mike Evans, but you go get a big body guy and put him in a tight end frame, a guy that can separate. I mean, that's hell for the rest of the NFL. You add him to the Seahawks, you can see that would be a problem. And then, the Cardinals already have an elite tight end. You give him another guy and you can go 2 tight end sets with those guys. Good luck guarding them. So I think Isaiah Likely in the division would be somebody I wouldn't want on any of those teams. Another player that I've liked a lot since college, and I think he's a versatile player. I think he's better playing nickel corner, but he can play both inside and outside. He's young. He's only going to be 26 years old this year. I think that schematically, if he is used right, he can be an absolute weapon. I think the team that would worry me most if this player went to would probably be the Seahawks, just because of McDonald and his versatility. He already has a bunch of guys that can do so many different things, and you add somebody like a Newsome Greg Newsome out there in that secondary, but really all of these secondaries could use a boost. And I think the world of Newsome. I think he would be a great player on all three of those teams. So I would like for him to stay out of the division. And then you guys have all mentioned it, but Trey Hendrickson, listen, he ends up on any three of those defensive lines, especially if Trent Williams is not going to be with the 49ers. That's a disaster. And I think, the Cardinals are one premier edge rusher away from being a really good defensive line. They've poured a ton of assets over there. Some have worked, some have not. But I still think that there's a lot of young talent on that defensive line. You give them somebody that can solidify one side as an edge rusher and Hendrickson, and now all of a sudden you've got three really good defensive lines, and that's not great for a team that doesn't put a lot of assets into their offensive line. So
free agency right around the corner, but I know the draft not too far after that. We will, of course, get into draft talk heavy as that gets closer, but something came to the surface within the last couple of days here that I find to be interesting, and that is that the Rams could potentially be drafting the successor to the most valuable player in the NFL. Quarterback from the Alabama Crimson Tide, Ty Simpson, linked to the LA Rams. Last couple of days, it's been talked about by many big pundits, including Mel Kiper, one of our faves, who says that the Rams would be the best fit for Ty Simpson. Hard not to argue against that with that offense. I don't know what would be a better fit than that. But Jake, had to get your thoughts on this because, we go into last year, Stafford's back. He's not going to be able to do it. Puts together the best season of his career. But he is getting up there in age. There's no denying that. A succession plan has to happen at some point. You don't want to end up being like the Giants or the Steelers where nothing's in place to replace your guy. I'll swing it to you here, Jake. Your thoughts on the rumors of Ty Simpson potentially being drafted by your Rams as the project to take over for Stafford whenever that day comes.
I mean, I wouldn't rule it out entirely, but would I want it? No. I don't see them spending a first round pick. And it's funny because I use this analogy, the idea you go to, you go to a store and it's like, oh yeah, this is the hot and ready, whatever, rotisserie chicken. And you didn't want that. You went there knowing you wanted wings, right? You wanted buffalo wings. Well, guess what? Rotisserie chicken's all you're going to get. You don't have to buy the rotisserie chicken. If you want wings, you can go somewhere else. You can look in a different draft class for your quarterback. You don't just have to take one. You definitely don't have to take one the first round. But my thing is, Ty Simpson to me is not a first round quarterback. And if you're going to go and you're going to spend a first round pick, and this is why the Rams, I don't believe, are going to do this. If you're going to spend a first round pick on a quarterback in a year where this is probably the worst quarterback class we've seen in quite some time, why would you do that now when you're going all in? Why would you do that now when every single year since the Super Bowl season, and then of course you had the bad year with all the injuries, ever since 2023, you've just gone up the rungs. It might not be the way I wanted it, but it's been wild card exit, divisional round exit, NFC championship exit. The last 2 years, the team that eliminated you won it all. Why now would you be like, I feel like this is a really good time to use a first round pick in the worst quarterback draft we've seen in however many years? It just doesn't make any sense. So for me personally, I'm all in on going after a guy like Drew Aller on day 3, developing him. And I know the Rams like him, but I don't get the whole Ty Simpson thing. And guys, when it gets loud like that, this is a Rams organization that likes to keep things in-house. Trust me, it's hard to get information from them, right? I just don't think, if they really believed in him, it would not get out the way it has. I remember there's been players in the past, they were all over Jalen Milroe, right? All of a sudden, everyone's saying they're going to get Jalen Milroe, and all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch the tape on this guy. And I start to really like him, as Brando knows. And they had a chance and they didn't pull the trigger. Last thing I'll say on this. I would be freaking pissed off if they picked Ty Simpson the first round when Shedeur Sanders they could have had in the 5th round last year. That would be absolutely inexcusable, and that's all I'm going to say on that.
Let me real quick, Jake. So you have two first round picks, right? You got the 13th and the 29th.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't use that 29th overall pick for a guy that maybe you can develop behind Matthew Stafford? Because I mean, I see what you're saying. 2027 is the right now premier, but if you have Matthew Stafford, are you going to be in that, in that realm to even get one of those guys? I mean, unless you guys trade up and say F the picks again. I mean, Ty Simpson, I'm probably going to be not agreeance with everybody here on the thing, but I think he's got some pretty good intangibles. I mean, he looked really good in the beginning part of the season, and then of course he got hurt, and then his weapons sucked, and his run game was non-existent. But I mean, Ty Simpson's the second best quarterback in this draft. You don't think the 29th overall pick can covet a Ty Simpson?
I'm just not high on Ty Simpson from what I've seen so far. Okay. I need to watch more. I'm not going to sit here and act like I've watched 8 games of his, but I don't see a guy that you spend a first rounder. And it's a great question, Mike, and it's fair. They have 23 and they have 29. Me personally, I'm not just using one of those picks to use it. Like if your quarterback isn't in this draft, which likely he's not, then guess what? You can put it on layaway and get a 2027 pick. You don't have to make a selection. There are going to be teams that are that desperate trying to get the 5th-year option, try to get their guy. There's still good players in this draft. It's just quarterback where this draft is really lacking. I think this is going to be one of those drafts we look at like a Dak Prescott, like a Russell Wilson. I think the best quarterback in this draft is going to come out of the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round. And when it's all said and done, that's how I feel. But with how aggressive the Rams have been, how they were with Stafford, how they were to go up, trade 3 first-round picks and a 3rd-round pick to get Jared Goff. I think they also traded a 2nd rounder too. Like, they've shown aggressiveness in the past with Les Snead. I'm not worried about the future. I know this sounds ignorant, but I'm truly not worried about who is going to take over for Stafford. I know whoever takes over for Stafford will not be as good as Stafford. I'm not going to enjoy them as much as I enjoy watching Matthew Stafford throw the football because I think he's the best damn quarterback in football. But that said, they are going to find their guy. Whether that's Joe Burrow, like Jesse's brought up multiple times and Brando's brought up, whether it's somebody like that, or it's somebody in left field that we don't really know about. Like we've seen, reclamation projects with Sam Darnold. Is there a guy out there worth doing that? I trust in McVay. I trust in Les Snead. I think that the future's okay. Focus on winning now. Focus on maximizing your MVP and go out and win the damn Super Bowl again before he heads off into the sunset. That's my entire, and Mike, totally understand where you're coming from, but my entire focus is the Super Bowl. And it is getting players to win in 2026. It's why I keep telling Rams fans, we should draft this guy, and we shouldn't, go after this guy in free agency. We should just draft this guy in the draft. No, I'm not drafting for need in the draft, not pressing need. I'm drafting for down the road. Colby Parkinson, Davis Allen, their contract expires. You want to draft a tight end? That makes sense. But I'm not waiting until the draft to fill needs on what is a Super Bowl caliber team. I'm not going to do it. So, yeah, I'm all in on 2026, and I hope the Rams are. I've heard they are. It's why I've mentioned guys like Mike Evans. It's why I think they're almost a shoo-in to go out and trade the 29th overall pick for Trent McDuffie. I'm not saying I want McDuffie, but that's what I would expect. I think that's the direction they're going to take it in, and I think that there are a lot of reports out there that, okay, you're linking Ty Simpson to the Rams, but I don't think that's where they're going to go.
Yeah.
Jesse? What about Drew Allar in round 3? I mean, would you be okay with them doing that? I look at Allar and
I like him a lot. He's probably my favorite in the draft.
And he's slipping. He's slipping, right? So if you can get him in round 3, I mean,
you could get him in 4.
I think it's probably worth it.
You could get him in 4. I think so.
Maybe, yeah.
But I mean, I mentioned this to Brando on our on our show. I think they should trade for Will Levis. I think he's got a skill set there. I know people are going to turn their heads and disagree, but I think he's got the skill set. He has familiarity with, that offense with Liam Cohen. I think if anybody can figure out and fix Will Levis, it's this brain trust with Sean McVay, with, Dave Ragone, with Nate Scheelhaas. Like I actually really like the idea of bringing him in. I think he's a decent backup for the year. But I think
hated him as a prospect. So
I didn't like him as a prospect.
My opinion hasn't changed on him. So
I didn't like him at all as a prospect, but he's got a big arm, and he plays kind of similar to kind of the old school Matthew Stafford in Detroit. I think that there's something there, and I'd be willing to kick the tires on a late round pick. I'd rather do that than spend a first rounder or second rounder on a quarterback in a weak quarterback class.
You know what? You guys are Jesse's dancing around it here with the third rounder to Aller being the better pathway here. And quite frankly, going back and finding a Garoppolo type guy is what you want to do when you have a Super Bowl ready-made roster. You don't want to be going to a rookie coming off the bench now as you've got a roster ready to go and compete in that way. That'd be silly. I think you're also 100% right on the whole Ty Simpson part of this, Mike. It's two different things. Number one, Simpson is not a first-round talent, number one. Number two, he's going to be taken far ahead of where the Rams are going to pick with their second first-round selection. Mm-hmm. In fact, I know as much as you want to offload Kyler Murray to the Jets desperately, it's probably likely going to be Simpson going there at 16. It was a big tell. He didn't go out there to the Senior Bowl. He didn't even show up. Big tell there that he's probably going in the first round. And so it's one of those things where this is what's going to happen this year. Quarterbacks are overdrafted. Not the year to draft if you're going to see that across the board. And it's tough this year.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, you got something?
No, I was just gonna say also you can't ignore the fact that maybe the Rams are just trying to smoke screen everybody and get a desperate team to move back up in the first round to get themselves that guy. Because if Cardinals
did it with Dart,
if
they did it with Dart, man. You see the Giants trade all that stuff. They were never gonna take him.
Don't get Malik Willis, and we're going to be finding ourselves in a real sticky situation. And I can see the Cardinals potentially getting aggressive because Monty Ossenfort might be on the hot seat. So,
you guys are getting Malik Willis. Think about it. The connection, Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur.
It's just the money, man. It's the money.
I mean, you already see it, man. Look at how many guys are staying because Jonathan Gannon is over in Green Bay telling you to keep your guys.
Yeah. That's why the trade for Kyler doesn't, I know you want him, Mike, but that's where it's just not going to make sense. Because the post-June 1st designation is part of the process to then be able to onboard the new quarterback.
Right. Yeah. The money's what I don't mind Malik Willis coming here, and I've said this multiple times. It's just what I'm worried about is what his money is going to be worth. And I just feel like if it doesn't work, the Cardinals are going to be put back in another 2 years of. We just can't bounce back from stuff like this, man. We really can't. We'll see how it goes. I'm sorry.
I like him a lot. I like Malik Willis a lot. I actually really do, and I think he'd be a great fit for you guys.
But Mike's right. The timing's not right for this.
Yeah,
get the other stuff ahead of the Cardinals need to get their fundamentals right before they start chasing dreams.
No,
that's
that's
a little
fair.
bit of chasing dreams.
That's fair. And to be fair, Malik Willis is probably going to sign a 1-year deal with up to $40 million, and it's going to be heavy incentive based. I don't think a team's going to be willing to give him a Sam Darnold deal. I don't think a team's going to be willing to pay him 3 years. There's just not enough there. Like maybe a desperate Jets team, but I don't think the Jets are going to pay him. I think the Jets
the weak draft's going to push this, though, Jake. You're right, 100%. But the weak draft this year impacts this in that way.
That's true.
Where they go, well, I can't go get this in the drafts, or where am I going to get this alternatively wise?
I thought you were reenacting how all those teams are going to be scrambling.
I was the soundboard. I was like, man, that sounds good.
Spilling my drink.
Is everything good over there?
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Okay,
that's just a live shot of inside the Jets war room getting ready for the draft, the offseason, et cetera, right there.
Somebody
clip
right
on your screen. Well, Jake, you said Jalen Milroe earlier. Now Ty Simpson. I guess we'll just keep linking a Bama quarterback to the Rams until it ends up happening at some point here. But we'll keep an eye on that, as we will with everything else throughout the offseason here. In the meantime, we are nearly 1 hour in the books. Brando, unless your soundboard just exploded, cue me in as we are ready for the best time of the show. It is Super Chat. We got 82 Airborne kicking us off nice and easy with a Go Cardinals. Appreciate it. 82 Airborne. We'll get it on over to our main girl, Megan, dropping off a tangerine for the boys. Megan saying, just ordered a 3D copy of the Seahawks 2 Lombardis from a friend in Adeldale for the shelf in the office. Damn, never gets old saying 2 Lombardis for the team who was supposed to come in last in the division. So we got a 3D copy. Oh, so like a 3D print of the Lombardi trophy is what I'm making of this?
I might have to get a couple of those myself.
Yeah.
Might have to get a couple of those for the background.
We got one in 49ers fandom. We'll give to you.
Do you guys have a 3D
wasn't that
printer?
years and years ago? Did that happen?
No, I'm talking about giving him David Lombardi. You guys can have him. He's a
No.
Did you see? I love the post I saw of Dave Lombardi, of him walking to the Hawk locker room, Jesse, when we were celebrating, and he's in there with that look on his face. And he walks right past, like, all the guys are over there with the champagne, and he just like walks through for some reason. Like, what are you even doing there, bro?
Do that again.
He owns Levi's. He told me that.
Damn, that's awesome.
Speaking of celebrations, perfect segue. Andrew's asking a serious question. Whose victory celebration went harder? Brando at the Hawks Super Bowl parade or FBI Director Kash Patel in the locker room with USA men's hockey? This one's an easy one to me.
He went pretty hard, but you have a hard time beating me. I was having fans of the channel down there at the old downtown bar, so it was, we went pretty hard.
You went hard at a Rams 49ers game.
I was just going to say,
come on.
You went hard at a Rams 49er game.
We got a taste of you with nothing on the line. A Seahawks Super Bowl parade. That's a Brando I would not have mind hanging out with for a couple of hours out in Seattle. So I got to give the nod here to you.
That's right.
Well alive. You were more alive probably than you've ever been out there at that parade. We got War Chief.
Sir.
Aloha, Roundtable boys. Yo, Brando. Hey, since we just turned Levi Stadium 2 Lumen South, let's call SoFi 12-Fi. How about that when we win Super Bowl 61 in LA? Jake, you add in 12-Fi to your list of words we can no longer say here on the NFC West Roundtable?
I don't care. I don't care.
We're adding another gauntlet piece next year. We got the one gemstone right here, and now we're adding the Levi one right here next year. And Cardinals, it's coming. Don't think we don't know. They play Super Bowls down your house too.
Aren't you guys cursing my place? A lot of bad things happen.
No, we've overcome that.
Have you?
Brando's collecting all the NFC West Infinity Stones. Freddie K. Boom Baseman. The whistle had been blown. SH been the end of it. Analyst Terry McCauley needs to be fired. This was one thing I was going to add to the list of rules we were going to change. Get rid of the rules analyst. On the
my
broadcast.
God.
It gotta go. Got to go.
Terry McCauley is on my blacklist.
It's just, it's not good. And I don't know how the NFL can continue to sign up for it because it contradicts a lot where you'll have a call on the field and then the broadcast is telling you one thing for it to be ruled another way. And I got to think the NFL doesn't like that because then it just gets awfully confusing. And what else is new? All this seems to be confusing.
Don't get me started with the Florio report on that.
Which one?
The one where Brandon had to text me to make sure I was okay after I found it out. No, Florio said that McCauley called into his buddy over at I don't know, the head official.
And said that somebody made a call, right?
No, he made the call.
Oh,
McCauley
it was him.
made the call in the middle of the game.
See, I had heard Florio talk about this, but he didn't name drop. So it was McCauley, allegedly.
Yeah, so McCauley made the call to Walt Anderson. That's his guy over there. And he was saying they need to look at the 2-point conversion. And you could hear him on the broadcast. I just wish he was a little bit more adamant of looking over that illegal man downfield, But look, my thing is, I don't even know if we ever talked about this. My thing is not taking anything away from the Seahawks. That can't happen. I don't believe that should be a thing. Not in a world with betting. I think you're going down a slippery slope having a guy who's supposed to be calling the plays. You have a guy that's supposed to be in the press box and he's clapping. And I'm not saying he was taking Seattle's side, but we can't just have this is like the Buffalo Wild Wings commercial, pushing the button.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Man, I wish this game would go to overtime. I love those commercials, man. The sprinkler
Terry McCauley.
Oh, it's the best. Those commercials are great. Meg dropping in. And speaking of those rule changes, Megan saying, Rams wanting to change the rules? How predictable. Can we get a rule change about teams blowing 16-point leads and blaming the refs, says Megan. Oh, boy, that's Megan's rule change right there. Wants to change the inability to
It's very funny that there's a 0.000000001% of us ever seeing that type of play ever happen again, and yet it's still into the Rams' head so much that they want to create a rule on the back of it.
I'm with you. I think it's stupid. I'm against it. Just let it pass. You got a whole other season ahead of you. If anything, this will end up affecting them negatively somehow, some way. So I would have just kept my mouth shut.
Tommy Cox, I think the rule about the catch, professional refs, and fines for refs for bad games and holding calls, I like the extra bye week for the Super Bowl. I think we can all agree here. The refs taking the podium would go a long way.
Yeah, I would love that.
If not for anything else. If you change nothing and just sent one ref to the podium every game, I think it would go a long way. But they won't do it. So I don't think we'll ever see it either. Mark Jackson, expand the league. And add more teams to the playoffs to get the Super Bowl to President's Day. 40 teams, 36 teams, 2 weeks of extra playoffs.
Jeez. I was going to say, I wasn't sure. You had me in the first half.
Damn.
I'm not going to lie.
At that point, just put all 32 teams in the playoffs and kick it off. Speaking of adding games or whatnot, Jesse, what do you make of the Niners going on the international tour this upcoming year, by the way?
Holy crap.
The thing is like, every year we have this crazy travel and our fans are like, oh, they just always screw us on the schedule. The problem is that the stadium, the way it was built and how hot the sun is in the early part of the season, Jed York and company actually request road games to start the season. And they are the ones that requested international games as well. So the 49ers aren't getting screwed. It's their ownership that is doing it to them. So be mad at Jed York.
I think it's smart. I was there. I had no idea because I had heard this rumor. Dude, that heat is brutal. There's no coverage. And it's always hitting the opposing team's sideline. It's actually a really good home field advantage but it's still going to hit the 49ers.
Not if you have your owners traveling when you freaking have the advantage.
I realized that while I was saying, but still, I mean, it is funny. There's no coverage whatsoever. You're getting baked.
Be like the Buffalo Bills being like, can we not have any games in winter at our house? Is that okay?
Well, funny enough, there was equal complaints between Buffalo going to Miami and Miami going to Buffalo late in the season, Buffalo going to Miami earlier in the season. Now, if you'll notice, typically Buffalo goes to Miami later in the season. Miami goes to Buffalo early in the season. Mike McDaniel was wearing the not cold enough shirt, and many people were, ripping Bills fans for saying it's too hot. But Miami Stadium is built so that the away team is actually getting cooked in the sun more than the home team. So I think there's all these little, intricacies.
And they make you wear the dark uniforms so that it's hotter.
Yeah, good point.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's something to that. But either way, we'll be watching. I think that, by the way, that Niners-Rams game in Australia, I read that it could be Wednesday to kick the year off. How about that?
I don't like the idea of taking away the opening game for the defending Super Bowl champions. I think
How about that, Brando? Even when you're winning, you're losing in this division.
I mean, I don't like it either, but as well, if it's got to come at the expense of you guys going out with your happy ass out to Australia,
I'm not happy about that.
That's not a fun trip for these players, man. And there's reverberating effects on that. I don't care if it's the first game of the season or not. It's a bitch. So
I'm actually concerned.
I mean, I don't like it. I'd be hating it if it was my team. I'd be absolutely hating it. I think we went to Germany 2 years ago. We were running pretty strong. We were in the midst of hanging in there with the Niners in the division at the time, and that completely upended our whole year. We did not get, and we had a whole bye week and 2 week process. So it wasn't like we had to do the quick turnaround time. It's a long mother effing flight. It's just a lot.
Well, that's the thing. There's a left tackle on this team that has missed significant playing time because he's had 2 blood clots in his leg. I don't want him on a long ass flight like that. Is that crazy? Yeah. Am I being over, protective over that? I mean, that was the first thing I thought. I was like, what if the guy who has had 2 blood clots in 2 different instances, I mean, how long is that flight? It's not, I have nothing against Australia. I'm just
20
saying.
hours?
That's brutal. What is he going to do?
It's crazy. I don't know. It's a lot.
I don't like it. And then the Niners got to do, I'd be mad if I'm Jesse from there. It's even worse to hear that it's the owner push for this Jesse.
Yeah.
because you guys got to do another international one after that. Like, what are we doing here?
It's a lot. Mexico and Australia for San Francisco. Get used to it, though, because it's only getting broader and broader internationally.
I'll be happy with Japan, though, because I hear the rumor is that the Rams are going to have the Japan game. I always wanted to visit Japan, so I'll visit then.
And that would be cool. Wow, Dylan dropping off an off-season boysenberry for the boys. How about that?
Let's go, Dylan.
Dylan says there needs to be a rule around respecting the dead ball whistle. Whether something happens before the whistle, example being the Ravens fumbling on a tush push against the Rams that didn't count, or after the whistle, Charbonnet grabbing the 2-point fumble and it counting. Yeah, there does seem to be, it's all the discretion once again of the refs. Yeah. The dead ball, right? It's up to them whether or not they choose to blow that whistle. You got to let them play out.
That's where Jake's idea, though, about not blowing the whistles a standard way you teach them, instead of it being a hair trigger, that you go, no, let's let it go a little bit longer. Like, I wouldn't mind, for instance, sometimes with the back still going and they do the whole scrum thing, but we obviously can still see there's forward momentum. Let them push it out. I think that's fun when it gets up to those kind of moments like that. Like, instead of they stop it for arbitrary reasons at arbitrary times. So I'm all on board with that. That's the way to fix it, in my opinion.
I agree completely.
What players you hope fall to your pick, and who are you keeping an eye on at the Combine? Tommy, we're going to table that one because we'll have plenty of Combine and draft talk coming your way throughout the offseason. So we'll keep you up to date on all of that, including
we give him one. We give him one right now because it might change. No, just give him one.
I want Caleb Downs.
I think you got one. Yeah, let's hear it.
That's what I want.
I'm Jennings Dunker.
Jennings Dunker. Wow.
What a name.
I was going to say such an Iowa.
Wait till you see the mullet, Jake.
Right. I was I've seen the mullet.
Yeah. Killer last name and a mullet. I don't blame you. Keeping an eye out. Jesse, Mike, anybody you're keeping an eye on?
Round one, Monroe Freeling.
He's nice. I was watching him last night.
Mm-hmm. Ruben Bain.
Ruben Bain. Ooh, I like that
too. He's good. He'd be really fun on the
I like what's his name though for Arizona? The
David Bailey.
Bailey. I
like Bailey too. I like him.
He's gonna be nice too.
I like him.
Yeah, he's gonna be nice too.
We'll be keeping an eye on it. It'll be here before you know it. What are we? Oh, I think we're almost 2 months to the day from the NFL draft.
Yep.
I'm falling in love with Omar Cooper. I'll tell you that much. I
was watching him just today too, man. Wow, you guys are like, we're all psychically connected on this one because I was just watching both these two guys.
He's nice too, man. Him. I know you like him. He's your type of receiver.
He's like a Mecca last year. A lot of a Mecca in his game, but I think he can play a little bit on the outside.
Oh, absolutely.
We got Wyatt Wood. Get rid of ties. Field goal competition, maybe. Ooh, now we're talking, especially with these kickers now. Why not? Now we're getting
how about fade balls down the sideline with one-on-one coverage, and they're like 50-yard throws down the sideline.
Interesting.
Maybe a Braveheart with your biggest defensive player and your running back. Right
Oklahoma drill.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be great. Lava Queen. This is why the Sea Chickens won the 1 seed. It's because of that bull crap call. Why? Because they only won by 1 point. Oh, that's why the Rams are trying to change the rules, right, Jake? And then it's all fair and square next time.
No, there was more game after that. It's I don't like. I mean, don't miss the field goal. They had the ball again. No.
Special teams maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, don't give up a special teams touchdown.
That was the game. Right.
Well, no, the game should have been when Kobe Turner dropped into coverage and picked off Sam Darnold. There's actually no logical reason for Seattle to have won that game if they just call a normal game plan after that, and they couldn't get a first down.
Seahawks were defying logic all year long. Tommy Cox, I don't believe Crosby will be a Hawk. That draft capital isn't a lot, but draft-wise, I will be taking Dunker or Jadarian Price. So we got Tommy Cox on the Dunker train there with you, Brando. It is.
I think that there's going to be a team that goes over the top for Crosby. Sorry, I don't want to prolong it, but I think there is a team that's going to just go really further. And I don't think John's going to be as impelled coming off a Super Bowl championship. If we had come up short, I think he would have been super highly motivated to try to get the deal done. I think he'll be kind of partially motivated to get the deal done, being that you're kind of sitting on it going, we don't feel like we have to do it. We'll do it if it's ideal, but there'll be some team that comes in, I think, and swats.
Just looking at it from the Seahawks perspective, though, just everybody wins because the Raiders get them out of the conference. he goes to a contender. Usually teams with this type of money are not in the position that the Seahawks are. And then the Seahawks take the best defense in the league and add one of the best players at that position. It's the thought of it makes me sick. Brandon, I'd kill to be in your position.
I want to see it more than anything, but I do think Jake shoots this down. I know, but like, I don't think the Rams sit there with Snead and he hears that that's about to go down and he doesn't put a package together of the 2 first-round picks this year, Byron Murphy, and say, hey, we'll supersede whatever Seattle does.
I'd be pissed.
I have a hard time seeing it. I just do. And if he hears that, maybe he will. I'm not, but just, I feel like from the Rams in their position where they're coming off last year to see that happen, I don't know, man. It'd be wild to watch.
I just don't think like, and obviously I have a lot of respect for Max. Interviewed Max coming out of Eastern Michigan. Love Max. But that said, Byron. Now you got me saying Byron Murphy now. It's Byron Young. But that's amazing. I've never done that before. But no, the thing about Byron Young is that he just had his best season. Statistically, it was better than Crosby. I understand he doesn't have anywhere near as much help as Byron Young does. At the same time, though, how much better does that make your team? Is it worth giving up 2 first-round picks? I don't think he's that much better than Byron Young to justify 2. That's kind of my thing. It's like, maybe I'd give up a second-rounder, but like I like Byron Young a lot. And I think, unfortunately, at the end of the season, he was playing injured. And I think we saw that. He had his worst game in the NFC title game, and he was not healthy. And I think a lot of Rams fans has kind of just thrown him to the side, but he can still play, and I actually think he's going to get an extension.
It is the best username on the internet. It's Bron Sausage. And speaking of Crosby, Bron Sausage is out on Crosby. He says if he doesn't stay in Vegas, where do you guys have him going? He's thinking either the Eagles, Bears, Niners, Commies. Love y'all. Stay great. Go Hawks. Appreciate you, Bron Sausage. I think Brando nailed it. I think that there will be a team that really comes in heavy on Max Crosby. And if I'm the Raiders, you got to entertain it. They're in no position to win right now. He's by far their best player. And it just feels that you can move, obviously. I mean, Brock Bowers on the other end, but it just feels like if you want to get to a position where you're competing, this might be something that you have to do. The Eagles, though, my God, I mean, if you look at their situation a couple of years from now, they're going to be the Raiders. So I don't know how they're going to be able to swing that. But what do you guys think? I mean, do you think Crosby's not a Raider come this upcoming season, regardless of where he goes?
Yes. Not a Raider.
Yeah,
I don't think he's not a Raider.
Yeah, not a Raider.
Just feels like a move they have to make. That seems like one of the big storylines this offseason. Him and Justin Jefferson, 2 guys who might not be moved at all, but it feels like if their organizations want to take that next step, might be the best choice. Mark Jackson, if Ty falls to the Cards in the second round, Ty Simpson that is, he'll take him. But as we talked about earlier, you can't underestimate that desperation in the draft. It just feels like Ty Simpson will be long gone before that second round comes about. Garth Knight, Jake Ellenbogen rides and dies with the Ramley. That said, he doesn't go too far, and neither does Jesse or that Cardinals guy. Quote, not that he's had a chance. Be good. NFC West. Damn is right.
Jeez.
My God. It's February, Garth Knight. Holy. We're not even in free agency yet. It's already getting tossed out.
I'm already pulling for Mike's team. I just know there's going to be a bunch of former Rams on that team. I already know it.
There might be.
I already know it. And I think Aubrey Pleasant is going to join your staff because he just left the Rams. So
did he just leave? Does that? Oh, I was going to ask you about that. Okay. I'll talk to you later.
Yep.
Sam dropping off a tangerine for the boys.
I think my guy Keller will be over there too.
Sam is saying, love the continued professionalism and content from this group. John S. said today that the combine has become very important to also talk to player agents for trades and free agency. Thoughts about the Rams coach and GM not going? What's your take on that, Jake?
I like it because they have found what works for them. And, I mean, it's worked. You look at some of the drafts that they've had since they've changed their archetype and what they look for in the draft. And, finding guys like Kobe Turner and Byron Young, like I mentioned earlier, and Puka Nacua, just to name a few. I like their process. They skip all of those events and they spend more time in-house. And I have no issue with it because as long as you get results, the mad scientist is not really mad when he's right. So yeah, I I agree with the way they do it, honestly. It's such a short amount of time, and you have all of these events. I don't think people really take that all into account, because you have the combine, then you have all these pro days. What pro days do you go to? The combine, the Senior Bowl, the East-West Shrine game, right? You have other college all-star game. Like, what do you actually go to? To me, I think you send, some scouts to each thing, but I don't think you need to have Rams brass at any of those.
I do think it's very important though. Sorry, it is very important though, I think, because it's, from what I've heard about the background of it, it's not as much about the players or all that testing stuff. That's a part. It's really what he just said, Sam, on those relationships you're fostering there at those guys rubbing elbows and getting deals hammered out, and framework of things you're getting established, that, it's them together in a bar, in a small little bar in Indianapolis at 11:30 at night as you're chopping it up over a napkin. I think that stuff happens quite a bit out there.
That's what Cabo's for. That's how they found Matthew Stafford. Kyle Shanahan was so pissed.
Question for all the boys. Who is one player from each team's current roster you would want to add to your respective team to make them better, not including the quarterbacks? Start with you, Brando.
Holy crap. Probably, Stafford, I think, would be the guy. He's the
no
QBs,
the real icon
position.
That's his ground rules. No QBs.
Oh, no QBs, of course. That's
way to break the rules.
Probably, yeah. Come back to me. Let me think about it real quick.
Jake?
JSN. I get JSN, Puka Nacua, and Devontae Adams. Good luck.
Dang.
Good night. Mike?
Just to be different, I'm still going to go Fred Warner. I know the injuries are there, but I think he's still a great player, and I'll say Fred Warner.
Jesse?
Charles Cross. We're about to lose Trent Williams.
Brando, you've
I'll go back. I'll rip. He's going to take my JSN. I'm going to take his Puka.
That's only fair.
You got to. Alex, double X. Can confirm Jake was absolutely cooked at the CVIs. Didn't see a lick of shade until the 2-minute warning. If y'all go to Santa Clara, wear a hat for sure.
Dude, my forehead was bubbling. Like,
damn.
It was November, man. I wasn't expecting it to be like, what the hell? No, it's no joke. And by the way,
man.
Alex gave you some credit there, Brando. He called it CVIs.
There we go. It's already taken effect. It's already locked in. Whose house?
Hawks. Right. King Wee. My Rams offseason offense. Evans, Hawkinson, or Kelsey. Mackay, Aubrey defense. SHD, Khalil Mack, Creary, Dean, Amik, or Alante. Devin Lloyd, K. Curl. Lots of options on the table for
moving
King
Landman
Wee.
to Will.
How about it?
I like a lot of it. I mean, Hawkinson's the one to look out for. Same offensive, same offense. Evans, I really think, I don't know if they're going to make it happen, but they wanted him badly. And that was before Adams got there, but I still think you could make that work. SJD is Sebastian Joseph Day. Khalil Mack, I could see being in LA already. McCreary should be back. Jamel Dean is like my number one target right now. Devin Lloyd would be great. I don't think he's going to be an option. And they definitely need to re-sign Cam Curl.
Jeff,
no chance of
this one. For this year's for this year, y'all are to address us as Super Bowl champion Seahawks. Oh, Mike is still there. That's nice. Plays don't end on the whistle, Jakey boy. Well, when do they end? When do they end? When the fat lady sings?
We have no idea. It's just like up to the referee's discretion.
Wild West.
I mean, what if the ref is high? Do they get drug tested? I don't know.
Now we're talking. Get him on the podium. Get him tested. I think these are the questions that nobody else is asking. And that's why you're watching the NFC West Roundtable. Propa, I challenge all the rivals in the panel to say one nice thing about the 49ers. No sarcasm, no backhanded compliments. Mike, kick us off.
Kyle Shanahan is a really good coach.
Well done. Jake?
The 49ers have the best content creator in Jesse Naylor.
Very well done. Oh,
that's a good one.
Well done.
There we go.
Brando?
There you go. Jake stole mine. I'm going to go with the best, the deepest and most rich winning history of any team this side of the Mississippi.
Jesse, say something nice about your Niners. Close us out.
Brock Purdy's the best quarterback in the NFL.
Well done. Well,
and somewhere
done.
Sam Darnold's dropping a single tear.
Yep. Especially because Jesse's all in on Sam Darnold now, but it's still Brock Purdy who remains the GOAT in the division. We are $125 in the books on the NFC West Roundtable, and we appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Well over 400 in the middle of the offseason, the depths of the offseason. We appreciate all of you. We got one more from King Wee who's saying 49ers are the Dallas Cowboys with a BBL. And what else can you say after that? That's where we'll close it. That's Jesse, Brando, Jake, Mike. I'm your host, Z-Bot. Thanks so much, as always, for tuning into the NFC West Roundtable, and we'll see you on the next.
Roundtable Sports Network is your one-stop shop for all things NFL, with daily live shows covering all 8 divisions in the league, hosted by the best content creators on the web, all on one network. Catch the AFC East live every Monday at 7 p.m. and on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. The AFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. The AFC North Roundtable live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. The AFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. The NFC East Roundtable live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. The NFC West Roundtable live at 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights. The NFC North Roundtable is at 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, and the NFC South Roundtable is live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. EST. And of course, Fourth and Forever, the flagship show of Roundtable Sports Network, covering all things NFL at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Roundtable Sports YouTube channel. Real coverage, real fans.